All right, thank you. Listen to this. Baking holiday cookies and other goodies can actually go from a labor of love to a really frustrating ordeal when they come out maybe unshapely or burned or just bland. But there are some tricks that you can learn to prevent some of those embarrassing baking mistakes over the holidays. And who better to tell us how to do it right is Effie with Effie's Culinary Delights. Our good friend is here to show us this morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good to see you as always.
You.
Okay, so Thanksgiving, obviously a popular time for pies, and that's one of the things you're going to be talking about this morning, right? Because,
yes.
Especially because we don't make pies all that often. Oftentimes, the only time we make them is around the holidays.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Well, I'm really excited to be here because all the mistakes I'm going to tell you I've made myself. So even, an expert baker can make mistakes as well. So the first I'm going to talk about is preheating your oven.
Okay.
And making sure that you just don't turn the oven and put your baked good in, whether it's a pie or cookies or cakes. You want to make sure that it's preheated.
Okay.
And then we all want to sneak in and peek in and look in the oven and, see what's going on in there. That is really bad. If you're baking a cake or even a pumpkin pie or something, it can make the top go flat.
Uh-oh.
So you want to just turn on your oven light and look in and don't open the oven consistently.
To keep checking.
Yes.
You're letting all of that steam out and the heat
out.
and everything, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Good to know.
So that's the first thing. And then the
Okay.
second thing is overbeating.
Really?
A lot of people say, Effie, why is this happening, or why isn't this rising, or why isn't, whatever. Beating has a lot to do with it, that you don't want to overbeat your product, that the gluten, if you're making cookies, you don't want to overbeat because then your cookie's going to be really tough. So you want to be really careful, especially when you're making cakes, and if you overbeat the cake, you're going to see those holes in your cake sometimes.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you don't do that with the overbeating.
Okay, that's a good tip. Okay, applesauce is also on your list of tips. Why is that?
I can't tell you how many people say, Effie, can I substitute applesauce for the fat, for the oil or the butter?
Right.
And I'm the type of person, I've experimented with this, and there's many blogs that experiment with applesauce, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to get more of a gummy consistency of your cake. You won't have the dome, you won't have the rise. So unless you're just really, really wanting to cut out the fat, I really wouldn't substitute. If you're going to treat yourself with cookies or sweets, just enjoy it in moderation, like you were saying.
It's a special occasion.
Yes.
So, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
And then the next thing I want to share is the baking pans.
Okay.
The baking pans, if you have a dark baking pan like this, you want to lower the temperature about 25 degrees. Because else you're going to get that burnt rim around here. So you want to, I like to cook with the silver.
Okay.
I just brought these because these are mistakes that I made. I bought them and I don't use them.
What was the purpose of making the pans darker in the first place? What was
because
supposed to be so great about it?
To cook faster. So, and then they also, came out with the non-stick pans.
Right.
So everyone asks, Effie, how come I use my non-stick pan and I pour out my bread and it sticks? Because they think they didn't need. This is the best stuff. Baker's Joy or from Pam. And just spray your pan and then you won't have any problems with sticking. But saying that it's a non-stick pan doesn't necessarily mean that.
Okay, I have a question for you, and this is a little off topic, but I noticed on some of my silver pans that the silver actually, the paint or the silver comes off, and I'll actually be taking the cookies off the tray and the silver's coming off. That means I got a bad pan, right?
You have a cheap pan.
Cheap, okay. So where do you like to shop for pans? I mean, is there somewhere in particular that we should be going?
I go to the big kitchen stores to get mine. Calphalon is good. It's a good brand. It's a heavy duty. You're not going to have that issue.
Okay.
So maybe try that. But that's just because, and I have some of those pans too. But it's just
cheap.
Yes.
That's
you
the problem.
just want to invest.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, baking soda and baking powder.
Yes, that's a good one.
I've done this before.
So we all make that mistake. We grab out of the cabinet, and whether it's baking soda or baking powder, and you think it doesn't matter, but it really does matter.
Okay.
The baking powder is used more in cakes to help them rise. And it's the chemical reaction with the milk that's in a cake that makes the baking powder work. Baking soda, it's kind of universal. Like if you use that, it's not, it makes it rise. It's more for cookies, so it's not going to make it really rise. It's just going to give it that puff as the baking soda.
Okay.
So that's the story with that.
All right.
And then what I thought was really great is with the pumpkin pie today, I was you know, if we take the pumpkin pie out and it's burnt on the edges,
right,
you just take a cheese grater and real lightly go around the outside and kind of take a new paintbrush and whisk off the crumbs. Or if you have an apple pie and that happens, you can do that.
Okay.
Or let's say, for instance, you've totally demolished the pie,
right,
and the crust is black and you can't do anything. Just remove the crust and add whipped cream all the way around, and then no one will know the difference. So
okay, I'm gonna use that cheese grater for my burnt food trick. I can use that on a lot of stuff, Effie.
Yes,
a lot of stuff. Thank you so much,
welcome.
Effie's Culinary Delights. Thank you. Look her up on Facebook. I mean, she's the best.
Yes,
the
thank you.
Best. Thank you. Thanks for teaching us the tricks to the trade. We're back right after this.